Coming at you with yet another quick use case video. This time, once again, we'll be talking about custom extensions and how they effectively extend the functionality of osquery to literally anything you want given your use case. And in this particular use case, we're talking about gathering Active Directory information and showing you how simple AI query makes it. So without further ado, let's pop in the tech and show you exactly how. Okay, so I had a great conversation recently about some of the places that pen testers will check for plain text passwords in an environment. And one of the examples that was provided was within the Active Directory information and potentially the description of a user. An admin may put the user's password in the description as a means of, if that user decides and they forget what they made their password, being able to quickly retrieve it and give it to them so they can then log in. Well, that sounds all well and good and maybe efficient and effective in saving you a few minutes of headache for some of those more difficult users. It's obviously not great from a security standpoint. So then I kind of thought, hey, is there a way that we can get that information with AI query? And so first I checked the osquery supported tables, and the only thing pertaining to Active Directory that I found was for Mac OS. And so even if I just filter on Windows, we see that there's nothing there. So the short answer is nope. End of use case video. But the longer answer, of course, is that's exactly where custom extensions come into play, allowing you to extend the functionality beyond the default out-of-the-box tables of osquery to essentially anything you want. And in this case, we want Active Directory information. So cue the music. I went ahead and I made this custom extension table for Active Directory for Windows machines, which we can see I added in a little schema. I probably fat fingered some stuff, so please don't try and read too hard. But effectively, we have the SAM account name, the display name, so just the user-centric information, whether the account is enabled and whether there are login requirements via smart card. That's a compliance thing that I've heard come up a couple times. A few elements around password, like when the password is last set, the last bad password attempt. So maybe you could correlate that with failed logins to see any sort of brute force or abnormal behavior, or maybe it's just a user fat fingering something, as well as a couple other attributes like the description of the user in question, as well as the OU, the organizational unit the user or account in question belongs to, as well as their generalized group membership attributions. And then I actually added in this nice little custom field at the end. So in case we spit out any errors when we're trying to extract this information from PowerShell commandlets via a custom extension, it'll go ahead and say, hey, here's what the error was spit out from PowerShell. So I just like to add that. Makes life a little bit easier when troubleshooting. So we now have this table that we've gone ahead and created, again, with AI and a little bit of tweaking and tuning myself, but predominantly AI. We've gone ahead and we've actually created all the code behind this. We've used our backend jobs to build, compile, and test this effectively. And now all we need to do is deploy it to our target machines to extract Active Directory information at scale. And I'm going to pick my one little domain controller that I have here, since that's the only one that I actually have Active Directory set up on. And if I refresh, we'll see right here where the deployment status is success. So now we have a device. We've already gone ahead. We've created the ability to extract this information, and then we've deployed it to the applicable devices in our environment. The last step is going ahead and actually querying that data. So if we go over to create query, we can just do select star from. And we probably would actually want to specify the fields, but again, you don't want to watch me fat finger. So we'll say AD custom extension query, and then we'll specify that target device right here for the domain controller and hit execute. All right, and here we are. As we can see, it's waiting. So we should have results in just a second, and there we have it. All right, so if we go ahead and we check this out, what we can see is we have a whole bunch of information. You also may notice that the table size is a little bit different. We added in wrapping for some of these longer fields, which is nice, and the full ability to actually customize the length of each input, which is cool. But again, if we take a look at it, it's going to default. If you don't specify an order, it'll default to alphabetical. Had I specified, it would have gone in that order, but we can see that they cannot change password. You have the description, the display name associated with all of these users, from everything from just the built-in accounts to Larry Wingnut and John Smith. We see which ones are enabled versus not. The last bad password attempt, so maybe they fat fingered something, maybe it's a brute force, might want to look into that. Last logon date, none of them are locked out, so that's good to know. And then we can even see here the actual membership attributes of each one of these. We can see HR management, HR analysts, IT admins, and then in the OU, we can actually see those breakdowns as well, HR, IT, etc., etc. And then we can see when the password is last set, if it's set to never expire. So we can actually see that only one of them is like that. It's probably not the best practice. The actual account name, whether or not it requires smart card logon, and when it was last changed or created, and there's no errors, which is excellent. So We now have gone ahead and extended the functionality of osquery to include Active Directory membership and attributes, which is freaking awesome and super useful. And you can combine this with any other tables, assuming they just have a mutual field. But the thing that we're looking for, the original use case, was if an admin hides a user's password in their description for their own reference in case they forget it, will we be able to see that? And that's what we see right here with this password, presumably this password, super secure password. Yeah, so, not the worst from an alphabetical standpoint, but probably not best to have it in plain text there, Kevin Mitnick. But I guess it's more the admin to blame. But anyway, just a quick use case of how awesome custom extensions are and how easy aiquery makes it to manage those at scale to extend the functionality of the core capabilities of osquery to literally anything you want on the machine. And yeah, hopefully that was helpful. If you have any more use cases, please let me know. Otherwise, check out our videos on LinkedIn and YouTube. And until next time, see ya.